Alright, 9:38 a.m., January 15th, 2019. Seems like I got 6 hours of sleep again. I don't know if I'm a 6-hour sleeper, dude, or what, but, that's been the normal right now. So, that's a thing. I got my Phoenix housing stuff going on today at 2:30. I'm a little nervous being able to get there. I'm planning on leaving early and making sure I take a shower ahead of time. Try and make sure I have absolutely everything before I leave. And then, see how that goes and take the day. This is gonna be just a recovery day. It's not quite as sore as I once was, which is nice, but you generally you don't want to be trying to try and overexert yourself. You need rest days. Your body has to recover. I don't care if your physical trainer says, oh, you need to just keep going to get those gains. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't need gains that fast. I need stability. And, oh, by the way, the people saying, oh, yoga and stretching gets rid of your gains along with cardio. Motherfucker, are you trying to be so fucking swole that you can't fit through a door? And even then, they don't. They do not get rid of your gains. And in fact, and oftentimes, what they will do is lengthen your muscle back out, thus giving the appearance of it shrinking, but in reality, that's the actual muscle size that you have. So now you realize where you are really at, and therefore can continue to increase. Also, your body will thank you for it, because limber muscles are a good thing. Alright? It's just a good thing. That being said, I'm not really doing much yoga, so I preach. I do. But I'm not really doing it right now. Truthfully, physical therapy's kind of got me wiped, but, maybe tomorrow, get that going, maybe tonight, we'll see how I recover. There's something in my head. My brain's thinking about something again, and I don't know what. And I have a feeling in another couple of days it's gonna come out in its own way, whatever it is. Yeah. Something's happening. Anyways. Yeah, I don't really have much to say, so I'll come back to this later. I'm still waking up, kind of. Feeling like I'm a bit in a daze. Wow, I only recorded 4 minutes. It's 10:53 p.m. Let's see here. Scrolled around on Reddit. I suppose I should have been recording, honestly. Next time I do a big speech, I'll record it also on my phone. I did end up doing a good maybe 15, 30 minutes of just a call to action for the people. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, I don't know. the next time I'll try and record if I get into one of those modes. I'll be honest though, I am so tired. Like, it wiped me out for the rest of the day doing that. I went from, yeah, there's this energy to, man, I'm done. Like, fuck. It was quite taxing. It was 2 days in a row. Can't imagine how people go on the road and make speeches that are supposed to be passionate after for that long. That many times in a row. It just seems incredible. I got something in my glasses. It's annoying me. Anyways. So I went to the Phoenix housing thing. Did not have my SMI paperwork. So I have to get that signed. They gave me a thing for my psychiatrist to sign, so that way it's something. And they gave me until about February 28th or something, which isn't too bad. Yeah, I had to figure out what to do there. Yeah, for the most part, I didn't have an interview at all. I was actually kind of excited to maybe talk and discuss things, but it was really like if you have the paperwork or you don't have the paperwork. That's it. Like, that's all she wanted, and that was the end of it, really. After I did that, I went over to Keogh Health Connection. The lady did specify that she has to make her own calls, and they see people call back and all that. Look, it's just kind of frustrating. It's frustrating all around. I know it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but as a person that constantly has to keep, like, it would be fine if you would answer when you called. Like, I don't know anybody that calls and actually gets an answer. They always have to leave a message, and that, I feel like, is what rubs me the wrong way. That's the I don't like part about it. I don't mind, I miss a phone call, I try and call back, okay, but if on the call back I were to get a message, and apparently, unless she's on the phone literally the entire day and can never pick up the phone, then I'm just like, is there not another person there to help you? What's going on here? I just would like to know the information. That way I don't feel so angry about it, you know what I mean? Because there's a different perspective, and that allows you to temper your anger and come at it in a different way, because instead of, because you want to work together. You don't want to separate. You want to work together. The best way to work together is to understand your fellow man or woman or person, whatever. Okay? And to be able to work with them as a result of that understanding. To put in, with those communication skills, you're able to make sure to adequately respond the correct way, so that way both of you are able to work together to appropriately do whatever action or whatever is going on. It's just a little better. But yeah, I went over, scheduled an appointment. It was fairly fine, really. It wasn't too bad. It's boring, honestly. Truthfully, their elevator is like not that fast. It's only one story. It's like first floor, second floor. And I gotta tell you, it felt like it was about the same amount of time as talking to the individual and setting up the appointment as the elevator ride was going up. Which is kind of crazy. Maybe it's a health reason thing, I don't know, but it was weird. Just old elevator, probably. Old hospital elevator. I slowly drove home while getting a really bad headache, and I didn't know where it came from. It just slowly grew. I guess I never ate breakfast. I had coffee, and that was about it. Took my supplements and everything when I got home. All in all, a fairly uneventful day besides the whole speech that I did, truthfully. And I'm fading out. I am barely here. I've been responding more on Reddit. Quite a few new posts. Whew. Lots of stuff on the Blargy Basins. Wish I could make my own subreddit, but then again, what would it ever have in it? You know what I mean? Really, who cares? I'm tired, man. Okay, so, look, I know that the person who originally set this in motion is still out there. I don't know if they still love me. I don't know if they still think we're destined to be together. I don't know anything like that. But what I do know is that I still want to fucking find them. I want to... Fuck it. Come over. Give me the... Fuck, man. I don't care. Make my life as miserable as possible. But at least I have you in it. I'm gonna fucking type that out. I don't care how crazy you make my life. I don't care what happens. I'll have you there by my side. And this is truth. This is the gosh darn truth right there. It's obviously not okay to be male by Really? If that's your takeaway from the Gillette ad. Fucking loser. Look, there are obvious bad things that men still get away with. There are also obvious obvious bad things that women still get away with. It is stupid to this stupid back and forth. Where, I have it harder than you. No, where, I have it harder than you. Fuck off. You both have it hard, and some people don't. That's life. You stupid fuck. Why you gotta act like everything's gotta be all one way or another? The best part about the world is that it's a rainbowed motherfucking electromagnetic spectrum of just crazy awesomeness and weirdness and shit in between, man. It's the whole point of the world. It's what it is. It's not meant for you to be rigid and set in stone. We have nature that should tell you, but we've gotten rid of it. Back in the day, you would see the changing and the waxing and the waning of the seasons and the moon. You would see the destruction a storm causes and the inevitable growth as nature comes back and reclaims it and flourishes even better. You get those subconscious reaffirmations that you just simply cannot get, usually, in a fucking city or on the farm or somewhere like that, where all you see is the money, the numbers, the crunching, the next job, what do you have to do, Don't get me wrong, it's not like we didn't progress, it's not like we didn't do things, but you gotta stop and smell the roses for a little bit. You gotta sit back, look at that sunset, take a moment, look at your significant other and say, God damn. I don't know why, the goddamn, but you know, it could be good, it could be bad, but really just, yeah. Just, yeah. I don't know, man. It's just so silly. It's so silly. So silly. And then on this other thing, for mildly infuriating, they were like, little boys can't experience trauma, they can't be raped for some Facebook thing. And I'm like, that shouldn't be mildly infuriating. That's straight up rage-inducing. That's not fucking right at all. Ever. Anybody that even remotely thinks that is a garbage human being, as far as I'm fucking concerned. You stupid piece of cunt. You're not even a whole cunt. You're a piece of one. You don't even get to be a whole one, stupid ass. Fucking... And then it was in casual child abuse. It's not even casual child abuse. That's just straight up being a wicked, evil human being right there. That's straight up saying, oh, well, I'm going to condemn an entire gender into saying that they don't have the same thoughts and feelings and emotions that the other does? Well, fuck you, bitch. That's not true. Clearly. And the very fact that men have been taught time and again, if you look slightly feminine, you gay, you wrong, you this, you that, fuck off. That's toxic masculinity right there, motherfucker. You know, I can't cry in the arms of my wife. What? Bitch, are you kidding me? Cry in the arms of your fucking wife. Don't be a douche. It's not, and if she is getting on your case for being too much of a bitch because you're expressing your emotions, well, guess what? She ain't fucking good enough for you as far as I'm concerned. You know what? Or maybe she needs to work on some of her own self before you can start trying to do stuff like that. But god dang, it's impossible. It's impossible for me to sit here and think of any scenario where the idea of any child getting harmed is a good thing. It's just very rare. Maybe they are like superbly psychotic serial killers that are like godlike in their intelligence and maturity somehow, and are able. That right there is a story. Hoo-hoo, that's a good story. Almost like Chucky being reinvented. He possesses the mind of a child, and then he grows bigger, and I don't know, something. Write it out. I don't really care. It's not for me. In general, like, the vast majority of it is essentially them running around trying to fight people. I mean, what's the antagonist really have to... So he got into a human body. That's what he wanted, right? If he gets into a human body, that was the whole flippin' point of the series to begin with, that he wanted to reincarnate. So if he gets into the body of an individual and controls them, then is he not already reincarnated? Right? You know, he's just younger. If anything, that's basically a plus. You know? Oh, well, I got reincarnated and it wasn't at like 20 years old. It was at like 5. Well, guess what? That's great. I mean, it's going to suck puberty again, but, you know, I'll deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I would love to know, especially once you get older, right? Like, once you get much older, to the point, like, when you're in your 90s or something, like, they just got transported into the body of a prepubescent kid and had to live up until their mid-20s again, right? And I would love to see, like, what kind of an effect on mood, behavioral patterns, and shift, like, with the experience and everything, and growth of and hopefully some wisdom gained over all that time, change, like, the hormones raging through you, and of course, let's say, yes, they did have the developing body, but the brain structures and stuff were actually developed, but they got even more developed as a result of this, you know, because it's causing that, essentially, I imagine. Like, puberty basically causes the brain to become more developed, correct? So, if it was already developed, because that's presumably how you manage to keep all of your mind and intelligence and memories and all that, and you put it into the body, and then would it revitalize the individual's brain so significantly that it would be able to start regrowing again? You know, like, what kind of effects would we see there? It's all very fascinating. I love the thought process. I love it. I mean, we're basically having a lot of people already thinking of the same thing, where they just get the blood and the organs and other stuff from younger individuals and put it in or on their body. Yeah. What am I thinking? I'm usually pretty bored at night. And actually, talking on this has been causing me to ramp up. I'm not getting as tired as I once was, which is good. I've been coughing and sneezing a little more lately. Here's something I would love to try. Any and every thing to keep any possibility of cancer in my system. I'm still extremely paranoid about the idea that there might be somebody. Okay, I still have the paranoia. I know that they're health professionals set up. I know that they have their own network. I know that they have issues with me, and so I don't know if that they want to hurt me and they're pretending like I don't have troubles, or if it's ineptitude and they are doing that, or if I'm just being hypochondriac. Like, this is one of those things where if I had the ability to be like my own x-ray tech and to look at my own thing and know empirically, but even then, the shit can be changed. Like, you can set it up in such a way that, and if you're a good enough hacker, or whatever it is, that you can pull up any file, and it can be anything, immediately scanning, just, it doesn't have to be the actual person. So I get, again, paranoid. That's where live x-rays are a good thing. Yeah, that's right. They do have live x-rays, not just the picture. That's how they get those x-rays of talking skeletons that are eating and drinking and swallowing and all that. And you see all this stuff go down and move around their body. That's how that goes. But that can also be subverted too. You could probably manipulate it to a degree to be able to lessen the chance of them being, or anybody being able to see the significance of certain individual things, so you could prolong the diagnosis of a cancer or something else because it doesn't look like it's spread enough, and so it's not. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of ways that you can fuck with someone in the healthcare community, like, bad, and that's dangerous as shit and unethical, and that's scary to me. Like, and I always get that paranoia of, like, is that what they're doing to me? Because clearly I know that they're part of certain things going on, and I don't know if they want to hurt me, and I don't know if they want to help me, and I don't know what's really happening, so I kind of have to wing it and just trust that they want to help and that they're not going to let me die. But there are a lot of people that want to see me die, so yeah, I'm scared about that. It makes me very afraid. Makes me terribly afraid. But fear can rule your life so greatly that you never truly live. And I've been doing that for the better part of 27 years of my life. With a few stabs, trying to gain confidence, getting a little bit, and then ultimately having something shut me down later. Honestly, I am starting to think about trying to find somebody to try and help me out in this cruel world. At the same time, I have very huge doubts about everything. I don't have doubts that there aren't people there, but I definitely have doubts about their intentions. I have doubts about their feelings. I have doubts about many things. it's a lot to ask for somebody to trust that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's scary. It's one of the reasons why I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be looking anytime soon, truthfully. I'd love to. Maybe when I get a little more confidence back. I don't know. But yeah, I'll be leaving on Friday to go up to Payson with my parents. I did get the psychiatry appointment rescheduled over to February 8th, 2 p.m. I think. But yeah, that was good. It gives me a chance to get out of the house and, hey, I can go look around, see if there's any mushrooms up there. But it is January and it's very cold, so I doubt it. But I'll look around. You never know. You never know. It would be great if the 4-ACO DMT were to show up around that time. It would be nice. Yeah, I don't think it's going to show up. Oh, that reminds me. I need to go look at that. Yes, they did give me a tracking number. The tracking number shows it being in customs the entire time. And it's actually stupid. It's 25th. Yes, I did. I did get the tracking number. It says it's still in customs. And besides, I can't actually grab a hold of it anymore anyways. Unfortunately. Let's see here. Man, my Gmail is loading. Yeah, I super don't like. Why did she... Why do I need to know? Did you really forward this to me? Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's so clear she's trying to annoy me. Bitch, please. Did I ever? Probably not. Did I do this? Of course, the on-screen keyboard doesn't work. Do you realize how much I have to lean forward? It's highly inconvenient to reach for my keyboard. I have to sit up, lean forward a little bit, bend my lower back and stretch it. You know, it's terrible, really. It's just absolutely... It's just... I know, and they're always asking, Snap, or, okay, so a lot of the Reddit for Reddit, or, a lot of those, trying to meet other people things on Reddit, I'm like, I don't want to really talk private message. I'm terrible private message. I would love to be able to hear your voice and be able to talk to you appropriately. I really do have a microphone. The whole thing just doesn't really want me. It's just, I don't know. Here, I'll email them back. This is the only way to get it to move forward. Yeah, it hasn't moved from JFK Customs. I'll just copy that. If I can just tab that, well, I use the arrow key because I'm a boss. Oh, you guys are here. Yeah, you probably don't want to listen to. I'm just writing this out because I'm annoyed and I don't like. Stop with the smart compose, please. Thank you. Here. No, I'm not gonna give them the unless they ask for it. Alright. And Bloom apparently got a hold of this particular email address, which actually I need to go to Costco tomorrow and. Hey, what's this now? How much are the tickets? Um. Oh, nope, that's not happening. Shit. Fuck. Networking social is only $22 though. I mean, I might be about no. Well, maybe. Could be part of the 25 that I set aside. That's true. Could be. We'll see what happens when if they decide to give me my allowance this month. Because she's gonna be like, "Well, you didn't vacuum," and I'm like, "Well, I discussed that I didn't want to vacuum. I'd like to mop. So, would you like to vacuum so I could mop?" They never vacuumed, so it was just not a discussion. Basically, she didn't want to do it, and I was like, "I'm not vacuuming anymore. I'll mop for you, but vacuuming hurts my back." And I want to try and switch things up. I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to try and change it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd call the police just to see if they'd be willing to send it to me. Like, hey, guys, I hear you got my package in JFK. If you need some help making it, go through whatever. Um, what am I thinking about right now? Oh, nothing. Just tired. Just wondering about life. What it means to be wondering about life. Because if you think about it, you have to be in a certain area to be able to be thinking about what it means to be thinking about thinking. You know what I mean? Like, it just gets weird. It grows and grows. It's like an infinite thing. It's like you have to be thinking about thinking about thinking about thinking. It just never goes away, you know? I suppose that's those whole electrical impulses that never stop firing once they grow into your brain, once the correct organs and everything get together. Who am I gonna find? Who am I gonna see? I don't know, man. Motherfucker, show up. Dude, that girl with like 13 on her and the dirt. Oh my god. I just wanted to go so bad. It triggered something in me real hard, real fast. I was like, oh, fuck. Seriously, it really was. It was like, oh, the lust is great. Please don't. I can't handle having my heart played with. Oh yeah, I squashed my lust down pretty fast. Yeah, it's pretty unhealthy. Oh, you like someone, you think they're attractive? Squash that down. Bury it. Make it go away, because then if you try and use it and approach someone and they like you, oh my gosh, they can hurt you. They can hurt you so bad. And that's scary. It's difficult, man. I've been hurt far too many times. Okay, crossroads. Sorts. Hopefully that helps. Oh, fuck. That shouldn't have made me laugh. It shouldn't have, but it did. And I'm okay with it. No, it's just the Dunder Mifflin Toby's hand on the knee, which, if you've ever watched that episode, it's brutal when he does it. He makes it so much worse. Like, it could be, he could have just been, oh, sorry, I accidentally, did touch the thing. Yeah, whatever. It's funny. No, he shuts up. Everybody shuts up. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to Costa Rica, and hops over a fence with points. Dude. Like, he's freaking the fuck out, man. It's hilarious. And the truth is, just a little bit of embarrassment is okay. To go quiet so far, But, that's what happens. And it wouldn't have made for such a nice episode, too, if he just decided. Like, that's the thing. The whole point is if they acted like random average people, then it wouldn't be a good story. Why do you think reality TV show is the way it is? Most people that have those real life cams, that's a real story, right? It's just sitting around in their house doing nothing, usually. There's not that many people watching, but there are usually hundreds of thousands up to sometimes close to the millions nowadays of people watching reality shows. And then, now I use the term reality show as a much more broad term, mostly meaning group of individuals staying in a house. But truthfully, there are highly specific reality shows, as in they're cooking and housemaking and all that sorts of thing, but the principle is the same. Even with them, you need a host that's outgoing and outspoken, and they get fed their correct lines, they have to say it the right way. Well, you think they're acting off the cuff? My ass, they're acting. They probably rehearsed several of those takes before they finally used one of them. That's just how that goes, though, They're not in the business of, like, yes, it's great that they're getting a new house for this person, but the fact is that the person making the show is getting the money, right? That's what it's all about. I do really want to try and talk to one of them. Yeah. Do you? I feel like a lot of them have, good intentions, and everybody needs somebody to talk to, man. I almost feel like there should be, a Lonely Hearts sort of Discord, or not a Lonely Hearts Discord, but maybe more along the lines of perhaps, I don't know, like for those things that are more along the lines of for those people that are just looking to talk. That's what I used to do back in the day for, like, when I used to video game in TeamSpeak. for like the CMW servers and stuff like that. Or I'd just hop in and people would randomly join in, and it would be wonderful just to talk to random people. It really was. A lot of them were racist. I let it slide. I didn't realize how racist they were at the time. So, I mean, it didn't rub off on me. I was lucky. But yes, I was around a lot of racist 40-year-olds that were for sure in the Midwest, in the South. So, yes, I got introduced to the term sand N-word, which I didn't even know was a thing until I had someone explain it to me in the chat, because someone was so angry and constantly saying it that I eventually had to go, what the fuck is that from? And then they also started using sand monkey and other terms that were very derogatory, and then that was like one of my more wake-up calls. And then he started using other, but what I mean by wake-up calls was that I've heard it before, and I never thought to ask, but this was the first time the guy was using it in an angry manner, rather than a just, or, joking about it or something like that. And so it never occurred to me that it was a negative thing until that point. It's very sheltered, growing up. At the same time, it was one of those things where, like, there were other things that were said even before that I started to realize were just wrong. Straight wrong. And I started to distance myself heavily from a lot of those TeamSpeak servers, or would intentionally ignore the fuck out of that person, like make it so that they were never in the same channel I was. Yeah, and then I eventually VoIP sort of showed up a little bit, but not really, because if you were like me, not on the console, but on the PC players talk constantly. There is VoIP, but there is mostly TeamSpeak as well. It's very different, I feel, the difference between a console TeamSpeak and a PC TeamSpeak. PC is very, especially now with Discord and stuff and the different programs, they have the ability to, if you're in a particular game, put you together if there's anybody in that squad or whatever, into the same individual channels of that squad while it's playing, and then bring them all back out, and then so that's interesting. And then there's a lot of extra stuff that has happened as a result of that. It's interesting, but I feel especially after watching Battlefield Friends and their complaints on TeamSpeak about it just turning into this massive amount of just noise basically and hate, I started to kind of realize that there was a lot of noise and hate going on. It was more that I started to just direct my own self towards people that were just happy and nice and better than that. One of the first best friends I ever had online, it was back in 2142, Battlefield 2142. I think he was in Hong Kong or something. His name was Coco. That is right. And the dude played on his work computer, and he was good. He was fucking good at that game. No joke, he was good. I learned a thing or two. And the worst part was he was ridiculously sneaky with those stupid little anti-personnel mines, those little claymores. Fuck. Like, I never looked for them, and he was the only one that would really use them because everybody kind of hated using them because they were so easy to find or whatever. But that sneaky fuck figured out where to put them in all sorts of places that I just could not, when you're in the heat of the moment, even remotely react to or see. And it just, like, I died. There were multiple times where I'd just die and I'd just get angry at the dude. But we had fun, man. And then he eventually directed to me to the 183rd Screaming Eagles or something like that. 143rd, something like that. Good old boys. And there were racists, unfortunately. There were also not racist. There were just regular people there too. But every one of them was a lot more laid back. There were more anger and angry things being said from time to time, sure, but that wasn't nearly to the extent of when I was just trying to search for a way to talk, to people, or get involved in being able to just, talking game. And a clan really solidified that. I don't even remember what my first clan was, because I think it was 183rd, and then it switched to the Triple X, right? And that's so it was 183rd or whatever, and then Coco and I switched over to the Triple X clan back in Bad Company 2 days. Sort of like, we were kind of in limbo because a lot of us were either playing Call of Duty 4 or World at War, depending on which one of us. It was really just me playing Call of Duty 4. Most of them were playing World at War, but they switched back and forth from time to time. And that's actually where a lot of my reactionary, quick, thought process, what's the best way to put it? It's intuitive thought process started coming out. Because I played one map essentially constantly as Crossroads, and I got decent at it. I was never amazing at Call of Duty 4. I ran around too much. I never checked corners. I never did, but I loved a running gun, and I didn't do terrible. And I started getting a decent KD ratio for the most part, but really that's not truly what makes the game good. Honestly, you can have a great KD ratio sometimes, the game will just be crap. So, but yeah, it was good overall, I think. But it also, during that time, is when I ramped up a lot of my aggression, a lot of my anger. At the same time, and so I ended up getting into a match together with the clan, and apparently they saw me as just being a complete dick because I was screaming and I was saying this is bullshit and all this. And this is coming from a guy that was playing normal mode, and they were on hardcore, and they were campy little bitches, straight up, which on hardcore you have to be, but goddamn, it pissed me off, it really did. But yeah, that's kind of when I stopped playing that game with them, and I started slowly playing less and less of Call of Duty 4, because I realized that it just made me angry. It just made me angry. It was just, And the worst part is like, oh, there's another game coming, so you know what, that game will be good, and then it's not good, and then it's more anger, and it just builds up fast. For me. So, yeah, then I transitioned. What was the next one? Yeah, Bad Company 2. Played that for a while. It's with the Triple X's. Don't really remember too many of their names, honestly. I do have one very old video on YouTube about them. You can hear them talking, but you can't hear me talking. The old issues with trying to record back in the day and not knowing how to do it, still there. But yes, it was interesting, to say the least. Bad Company 2 was a good game, but people remember it far too fondly. Honestly, 2142 was my jam. I played Battlefield 2. I understand why people might like it more. I grew up on Battlefield 2142. That's why I like it more. Simple as that. They're basically the same game mechanics, just a slightly longer time to kill in Battlefield 2142, and therefore, honestly, there's a higher skill gap of player on that than there was in Battlefield 2, in my opinion. And so oftentimes people are like, they're not dying fast enough. It's like, well, you're just not playing the game right, because you're not going for the head, you're not aiming right, you're not taking position right. And ultimately, Bad Company 2 changed a lot of that. Like, it sped up soldier movement significantly. It changed out environmental impact. Things were destructible now. Not as destructible, but destructible. And I stuck with the Triple X's up until Battlefield 3. And somewhere mid Battlefield 3, they just were never around by that point. Like, by the end of Bad Company 2, they simply didn't play anymore. I was a kid going to school, and then I would plop down and literally play for the rest of the night. I would not do homework. I would not go out with friends. I would not do anything but play that game. And on the weekends, play that game. I didn't have friends. I played the game. That's what I did. That's what I did to have fun. That's what I did to relieve stress. And so, yeah, I got pretty decent at the game. I won't say I'm amazing at it, but yeah, I played the shit out of that game. And Battlefield 3 was shit. People don't realize how shit it was in the beginning. And it took a long time for me to find a new clan. In fact, it was only after like a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years, that I found the KOA guys while playing together with my friend Sticky from the Triple X's, which he stuck around for a long time. I was friends with him for a while, and by a while I mean almost a decade. Before, honestly, he just got so negative with playing the game that I would have no fun playing with him. And then after, he would still be negative about everything in his life and everything that was going on, and how these people were doing this and how this was happening to him, and blame, and I just kind of cut it out of my life again. I kind of cited it to being as a result of because the Trump thing was going on at the time, but reality just, it kind of outgrew him in that way. Like, we just didn't have the same ideas, the same thoughts and feelings about things, and it just, we just slowly grew apart. Yeah, that's just sort of sometimes how that goes. Coco left pretty soon into Bad Company 2. He just stopped playing at one point and never got back online. I hope he isn't dead. And then, let's see here. Other than, yeah, Sticky was my only real friend going up throughout most of the games. We'd hop in and out of different channels and talk to people. And eventually we found this guy named Zanzozan playing. I found him in his group, and I joined him with Adores, or Adoras, and someone else, I forget who. But, yeah, they were actually talking. They were actually trying to take objectives. They were actually trying to do things. And they weren't bad at it. That's the thing. You can try and do those things, but there are good ways of doing it, and there are bad ways of doing it, and you need to have the ability to aim and kill fast enough in that game to be able to be effective at taking objectives. You have to be skilled enough. And so that's what we were. We were the skilled guys. All it took was one match with him, and I was hooked. I was like, fuck, I'm only playing with you guys. I don't want to play with anybody else. These fuckers suck. That's really, I'm not even kidding. Like, they weren't, and from that point forward, like, I had a good time in Battlefield 3, and I made a couple new friends. They didn't really like Sticky so much when they played. He wasn't as good of a player as they were or as I was. I felt bad because they didn't want to play with him because of that. We had other players that were also just not as good as the main guys, but they would let them stay, and I think it's because Sticky never changed his clan tags and never wanted to join in. He ended up going with another group. I think is Nighthawks or something. And yeah, that's kind of the story of Battlefield 3 in a nutshell. Battlefield 4 was me and the KOAs. The end of Battlefield 3 was me and the KOAs destroying people, like, on hardcore, because we played hardcore. We didn't like playing normal mode. We didn't like the reticle. We didn't like the health regen, the 3D spotting, just all the shit that you don't realize is just bullshit to help you be a better player. It's a fake skill as far as I'm concerned. That's what it is. It's not real skill. It's you have a reticle telling you where to aim, and so you aim and you shoot there. That's all that is with 3D spotting. It's not real skill. Same with the mini-map. Fuck you and your stupid mini-map. You cannot know where a person's running around a corner on the fucking map. That doesn't make any sense. None of that makes sense. And even if you're like, oh, well, drones or some shit, I'm like, I don't care. The soldier is not looking at his arm in front of him like that, or even if it doesn't matter. The point being is that it just took the whole gameplay out of it for me. And so the hardcore mode was where we found each other, and we were good. We were good. And in fact, we oftentimes at the end of the night would cause servers to dissipate to being nothing because we kept destroying the other team, and then eventually enough people would leave, and then people from the team that we just helped carry to victory would go onto the other side, or we would be switched, and then we would be the team that would be the new team that was getting destroyed. So yeah, we were good. We were good. But like with everything, we thought we were really good. And we played against some competitive matches, and the first two matches we had looking back at it, more than likely hackers or, fuckers that were trying to lag and short out and do all that sort of stupid internet crap, along with more than likely macros to keep because their aim was ridiculously straight to the point where you couldn't do that. I don't care how much training and practice you do, it's too perfect. You know what I mean? And so yes, that is one of those things that we had to deal with. It blew our morale a little bit. We were preparing for that. And was it Battlefield 4 came around, and just like in Battlefield 3, the beginning was trash, just straight garbage. And honestly, a lot of the people in the clan didn't have like the money to afford new computers or anything like that. So we were all running low frame rate, heavy on the crashes, heavy on the lag. It's still kicking butt. Although the fucking gunplay sucked and your reticle was never aimed where your actual rounds were going, and so you had to learn. And then they came back, they patched and fixed that shit, but they didn't really. It just became a whole mess. And I kind of stopped playing towards the end of Battlefield 4, or middle of Battlefield 4. I started college by that point for a little bit, and while it didn't work out, it did take time away from that energy. And I don't know, as I kept backing away from it, I realized more and more that this was this thing I was doing, and I didn't like to do it anymore. Does that make sense? It just didn't have the same feeling as it used to. The wins were tainted. The losses hurt way more and felt cheapened. And then there was always death that you couldn't control, just shit and crap everywhere in Battlefield 4. And I still to this day say Battlefield 4 is one of the worst Battlefield games ever put out. I don't care how great its internet is, its whole fucking thing. It's just not nice in terms of it's just crazy amounts of ability to kill you without you being able to defend against it. And in a video game, that simply isn't fun. It might be realistic, but it isn't fun, and ultimately that's what kind of stopped me from, I did end up perching under the idea that I was going to start playing video games again, because by that point, I had already sort of more or less stopped playing any video games. And yeah, from that point forward, Battlefield 1, I hardly touched. In part due to the fact that my computer sucks, but truthfully, the game wasn't that fun, and honestly, neither does the new one. It doesn't look all that great to me. It's not the most amazing improvement, but truthfully, it looks good. Don't get me wrong, it looks good, but that's kind of what it seems like all the new Battlefield games are good for. Once they hit that Frostbite engine, It's just been almost sort of a steady, slow downhill slope. I mean, the only reason why Battlefield 3 started getting good again towards the end was the result of the Aftermath DLC. If it wasn't for that DLC, the Aftermath DLC, it simply would have floundered. It would never have taken or continued to go as long as it did. It breathed new life into it. With Battlefield 4, you could say the same thing for certain netcode improvements or certain, like your reticle actually being where the fucking bullets are going, or like there were definite things that slowly got improved upon, but I don't know. It just was, by that point, too little, too late. And you'd implemented too many of these flying C4 dildos and fucking drones that can crash into you and mortars everywhere. And then just nothing, never-ending spam is what it felt like on maps that sucked. Literally sucked. Bad. Like they were giving you terrible head. Okay? It's just how it is. They were just terrible maps. There were some very slightly good ones, but overall I'd say in the entirety of the catalog of maps that they've created, Battlefield 4 has the least amount of good ones. And that's saying something because it actually had the most total. I think out of every Battlefield game in terms of DLC and everything else. If I don't quote me on that, I don't know, but like it seemed like it had the most. Yeah, and it just really wasn't that amazing to play. This just was aggravating, and while the Easter egg hunt was something to do, it never piqued my interest even a small amount. And so ultimately, like by the end of Battlefield 4, I just didn't even like the series that much. I was more or less just playing to have fun with my friends. And they stopped really playing too. I mean, they kind of did, but they don't really anymore. They moved on to Rainbow Six, or sometimes he plays Fortnite, sometimes some other stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's really not much there in terms of like good gaming. There hasn't been a good, solid, like, just, you know, map driven time to kill or kill to or time to death um, like the right balance, so to speak. Like I felt like 2142 was one of, if not the best, one of the best for sure at that, because the distances were good and they felt good for the maps that they had. People died at a fast enough pace, um, but slow enough that they would actually be able to run from cover to cover and heal, or be able to get to cover and be able to take, or get return fire. And if you were good enough and you set up good enough, they wouldn't get to that cover. You had to aim for the head, or you had to go for, head body, but you could drop them pretty damn fast. And I feel like a lot of the time to kill and everything isn't really quite right. Like they want it to be so specific and have like specific guns, but the thing is that it was so consistent between guns in 2142 that it actually made it better. which is one of the reasons why Battlefield 3 started Battlefield 3 started doing so well. Like towards the end there were multiple guns that were basically the same thing. And while yeah, I mean you could say that's not very diverse, at the same time I would say it was balanced and it worked well and it was easier to know what kind of weapon that you would want to do, and it wasn't like up to picking the exact right thing. You could, choose your own weapon. Um, and so yeah, it was more fun. It was People criticized it, but I think ultimately it made the game better. They just didn't. It was a case of the public not really knowing what they want. Um, I I mean, there's probably a growing amount of Battlefield users that are fresh, but they've lost a significant portion of their core audience that started with them from the beginning in the 1942 days, um, with DICE. And sadly, I don't want to say it's all EA's fault, but EA and that acquisition helped to slowly facilitate the ultimate destruction and demise of the games, because they need to make the money. They need it to, so they focused on more specific money selling aspects rather than gameplay, which gameplay and gunplay in a first person shooter and map and design are so dramatically more important to having it be fun and enjoyable and playable than it looking amazing, or having the fastest time to kill or the slowest, or what particular objective. I mean, we have so many different forms of different ways of competing, free for all, team versus team. There's many different things out there, and so it's always possible to be able to utilize that as well. Anyways, I've been talking for almost an hour and 20 minutes. It's gonna be close here. So yeah, um, I'm tired. It's 12:11. It's officially tomorrow, or today, or right now. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like today is crazy. Um, because I feel like I let a lot of people down, and I feel like I'm stringing people along that I don't want to, and that's kind of how that goes. All right, I'll pause this until I go to bed. All right, yeah, I just palled around for a little bit. It's time for bed. Let's see here. Final thoughts. I hope the lion's mane mushroom is working still. It does seem to be, or whatever is working still seems to be. I have not felt a regression in the past symptoms I had. I am gaining muscle back, unlike before. Um, yeah, yeah, just, anyways. That's it.